Sit upright. You ask yourself, am I struggling to sit quietly? Is it an effort to sit quietly? Obviously, it should not be so. I am not struggling to sit quiet. In fact, I stop all struggle, all effort, and rest as I sit quietly. I am resting, not sleeping, because you remain alert. In fact, if you struggle to sit quietly, you will not be able to sit long. Either shoulders or back or something else starts paining. But if you stop struggling, put aside all effort, and just alertfully relax. Not a single muscle of the body is gripping or stretched. You can sit a long time without any problem of pain anywhere in the body. Meditation is not a struggle. Meditation, in Buddha's words, meditation is rest. Not sleeping though. Keep the shoulders and hands loosely. Don't grip anything, even with fingers kept loosely. Visualize a pebble dropped in the flowing waters. Maybe a canal or a river. I am like that pebble. The water continues to flow. The pebble gently reaches the bottom. And stays put in the bottom. The water will be passing by. The pebble is at rest. Be like that pebble. Resting, even when there is so much flowing all around. Resting that way is meditation. Allow the mind also to join the body and rest. Meaning there is no effort in the mind, there is no struggle, of course. The mind becomes one with the body and all. It withdraws from its wanderings and joins the body. And rests. When all struggle and effort ceases, and the mind joins the body in rest, that is when I am here. That is when I am now. Cessation of effort. Cessation of struggle. Rest. Here. Now. They are all the same. And that is also life, which is the breath. I breathe in here. I breathe out now. Here and now are one and the same. I breathe in here and breathe out now. Therefore, practice of meditation is a non-practice, rest, sadhana of meditation is a non-sadhana. As I rest, I abide in the present. I breathe in here and breathe out now. I am here and now. I am like that pebble in the bottom of a river. Relax. Sit at ease and relax. Now open the eyes slowly. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram rūpavarṇādikaṃ sarvaṃ vihāya paramārthavit paripūrṇacidānandasvarūpeṇāvatiṣṭhate. That is the meditation, avatiṣṭhate. So, when you give total attention, there is complete silence. You must have noticed that. When you give attention, there is silence. Silence of the mind. Therefore, these two, one is thinking continuously. The mind is in a very excited state. Sometimes that becomes very painful when the mind is in a very highly excited state for whatever reason. That becomes very painful. That causes a lot of trouble for the mind as well as the body. therefore you have to understand that we should not slip into that excited state of the mind in life. Sometime it may be there, but if it is constantly excited, the whole day your mind is running fast, and it is concerned with a variety of things. That is how it gets excited. It is attached to a number of things, it is concerned about a variety of things, and you are dealing with so many things of the world. That is when the mind is put on a roller coaster. That is how people live. That is what is called worldliness. They do not know what is alertful, restful presence. Just be. That they do not know, they do not understand that there can be such a thing. And therefore you have to discover that. First you have to understand the falsity of that kind of a lifestyle, where the mind remains fast moving whole day. Mind is filled with a variety of concerns and issues, and it struggles to solve a number of problems all the time. This is the samsara at its highest peak, at its peak. I described that only to make a point. Everybody may not be to that extent, but many people are like that. For them, they do not know anything like a calm and quiet mind while being awake. And therefore only option left is go to sleep. But they cannot go to sleep also, because the mind refuses to unwind. It refuses to become quiet, and therefore sleep also becomes difficult. Then you have to find some other way of sleeping, to sleep. So that is the worst case scenario. Having presented it, we may not be so bad, but some elements of that kind of life may be with us, and therefore we have to discover the opposite. And what is the opposite? When you give total attention, there is complete silence. You see, about sitting also, suppose you sit in meditation, say 30 minutes or 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and then get some back pain or shoulder pain, etc., and some such complaint you have, that means even in meditation you are not resting. On the other hand, if you know how to rest well, total rest, the way we have tried, you can sit an hour or two, it doesn't matter. It will not cause any pain. So, therefore, there are two states within us. One is the samsara, where the mind is hyperactive. Why the mind is hyperactive? There is a question. I mentioned this question earlier also. Is it possible to remain in a state of silence of the mind more or less during the entire day? Yes, it is possible. It is possible. But that is a very ideal state of consciousness, and you have to reach there. But what happens is, I'm sorry that I sound like complaining, people put their fingers in too many things, and they become more and more active in the things of the world. It is not about family person or sannyasi. Sannyasis are even more active. They are even more samsaric. So, they are not peaceful people. They are not silent and peaceful people. They create a lot of movement around them. And in the process, a lot of struggle, effort and confusion around them. And you get sucked into it, then you will be part of that. This is what is called spiritual materialism. So, quite often it happens. That is not what you really want. What you really want is that silence, complete silence. More or less. There will be a movement of mind. For example, the class is over. After the class is over, we all go up and have some food and then go home. You need mind. Without mind, how can you do all that? You need mind. So you use the mind. You use it. Only the mind should not start using you. That is all we have to take care. Therefore, we have to learn to rest while being totally awake and alertful. That is the trick. In Gita, this is called karmanya karma. So, you are awake, you are not sleeping. You are awake and things that need to be done, you do also. But you have that inner quiet or silence. To begin with, you cultivate that silence. How to cultivate? You understand the state of hyperactivity of the mind, or I can put it as the state of mind struggling. Mind is struggling for something or the other all the time. It has too many concerns. That is one state. You are worried about say for example, people are worried about what happens to my son, my daughter. What happens? Something happens. You are not going to control it. You believe you can control it. You believe wrongly. And people ask a question. This question, if I answer fairly, people mistake it, take it wrongly. So, Swamiji, my son is not doing well in the college. Can I do a prayer for his upliftment? For him to do well, can I do a prayer? So, you are taking prayer into a direction that is not desirable. You are trying to misuse the prayer. What you have to do is see whether you can become free from that wrong attachment. That is more important than making a prayer for my son to come up. Your son is not. So then the question, the Swami is supposed to answer the question. If I make prayer, will it work in favor of my son or my daughter? And my answer is no, it won't. So should I make prayer or not? Then go and spread the word that Swami TV is against the prayer. So like that it happens. It is all not a good game. That is in these circles. It is not a good game. You see, what will happen to the son or daughter? You wait and see what will happen. Something will happen. What happened to us? We left our parents back in some village in India and arrived in America. So something happened to us. Same thing will happen to your sons and daughters also. Some such thing will happen. So this is how you get stuck. So put a hand in many places and unable to take it out. There are so too many concerns. And so invest heavily in stock market. Now you cannot rest in life. The whole life you will be struggling and you will not know what is rest. So this way. Therefore, anyway, I have taken the point too far. You have to discover that inner silence, complete silence, inner silence. How to discover? When you pay complete attention, when you give total attention, there is complete silence. And that becomes meditation. So, for example, if you listen to the sound of a bell. This is the significance of a bell, whether it is a temple or a church. The significance is the church rings the bell or the temple bell rings. These people converted into ritual. Bell should not become ritual. So take a bell and go on ringing it and make it a ritual. That is not the way. In fact, in the name of Harati, they make a lot of noise. So take one bell, originally it is bell. Now bell, then tabla, that instrument, this instrument, tappet, tala, everything. As if God is deaf, you make a lot of noise. All of that is a kind of a corruption. I mean, the beautiful principle got corrupted. That is the corruption I am talking. Why there is a bell in a temple or in a church? The bell rings. When the bell rings, you hear the sound. You do not hear the sound by effort. It happens naturally. Hearing of the sound happens. Now what all you have to do is give total attention to that sound. The sound of the bell, give total attention. You listen to it with complete attention, with total attention. In other words, you listen to it with complete inner silence. That is how you listen to it. And that will pull you on, because the sound of the bell, it spreads all around and it goes on and on and on. It spreads in space and also in time. In the sense that it will be there for a minute or even two. And then again one more time they will ring it. So it will be there. It will be spreading all around. It is spreading into space and time. Therefore, when you give total attention to that bell sound, you are totally absorbed in it. There is only the bell sound is there. It absorbs the space and time also. And when you are absorbed in that sound, it will carry you across the valley, over the mountains, Pinnacle Peak Mountain, beyond the mountain. It will carry you. You are one with the sound of the bell. That is meditation. Therefore, it is total attention versus activity of the mind. You have to examine these two situations within you. And you have to discover, activity of the mind is already with you. You have to discover the total attention that engenders complete silence. That you have to discover. And having discovered it, you see the difference between the two, the discrimination, viveka between the two. This is effort and struggle, this is rest and silence and relaxation and abidance in Swarupa. See the distinction. Having known the distinction, you just remain in that silence. So, when the bell sound and you are not separate, that inner silence becomes one with the sound of the bell. You look at that, the silence becomes one with the sound of the bell. And they are not, there is no separation. The Shrota, Shravya, Shravya, Drashta, Drishya, that separation is not there. It has collapsed. And there is only total attention of the sound. You merge in that sound. And that ending of the separation between you, the one who hears the sound of the bell, and the sound of the bell which is heard by you, that separation ends. You merge with it. All by total attention. All of this happens by total attention, nothing else. That is meditation. And that ending of separation between you and the sound of the bell, it doesn't happen by effort. It doesn't happen by willpower. It happens when all effort ends and there is no willpower or any such thing. Then only it happens. And such a state of consciousness, in which there is no separation, there is no duality, and there is total attention, the mind is quiet, and that such a state of consciousness is called meditation. Avatiṣṭhate, that is the meditation. And that can be, you sit at home, that can be meditation, or even while walking it can be meditation. So that is the significance of the bell also. That also has come. But I do not hesitate to say we have forgotten the significance of the bell. Dirgha ghanta ninadavat. Om is that sound. We have forgotten the significance of the bell. Now somebody wrote a silly verse. These anushtups, Anushtup in the name of the meter means you can make a verse tup. You can make a verse. You have to try your hand a few times and get that skill. That is all. You can make a verse. So agamarthantu devanam gamanarthantu rakshasam kuru ghantaravam tatra devata ahvanalanchanam. One verse is made. You ring the bell, all the devatas will come and all the rakshasas will go away. Why they will go away? Where they will go away? They will be in you only. You are a rakshasa to begin with. So the bell ringing is converted into a ritual. And you have to see people, when they go to temple, they fall over each other to ring the bell. And then push the child to ring for the child ringing the bell is a sport. It is not a spirituality or any such thing. No, God will bless if you ring the bell. It is a superstition. There is no truth in it. Whether it is church bell or temple bell. In church bell it did not happen. Church bell still remained as an invitation to inner silence. I hope so. So, whereas in our temple system, the bell has been corrupted completely. You cannot bring it back. They will beat you if you say these things. Because you become a disruptor. Because they are completely satisfied or contented in their stupidity, or in their belief system, and they don't want to be disturbed. Nobody asks the question, why make so much sound while doing harati? Why? You see, in Kakinada, there was a temple. Somebody put up a temple there. And then the adjoining is a house. Somebody purchased the plot for a lot of money and made a house. And these temple people, they assemble morning and evening, 20 of them or 30 of them, and harati they do. And morning and evening, these people who reside there, they were disturbed to such an extent that they sold the house and went away somewhere. One of them asked me, Swamiji, we want to know whether God is deaf or what? So there is a value in avatiṣṭhate, in abiding in that complete silence. There is a value. That is what I am trying to point out. So you abide in that silence. There is a beauty in that abidance, and that is the true happiness. Ānandasvarūpeṇāvatiṣṭhate. Avatiṣṭhate is the meditation expression, it is. Ava means go deep, like that pebble goes deep. And that pebble also, when you drop it, it won't rush to the bottom. It lazily goes to the bottom. Slowly, not lazily, slowly goes to the bottom, then settles. So similarly, there is the world, put it aside, then the body, the organs included, the mind, and then go down. Ava. And stay there. In the total attention, which is also a complete silence, and you tell yourself no struggle anywhere. You have to tell yourself in so many words. It has to be said. Because, why it has to be said? Because struggling has become a habit. It has become a habit. Once anything becomes a habit, it drains you of your energy. That is how habit works. Habit is not a good thing. Habit, you see, you can enjoy coffee only when it is not a habit. Because every morning you drink your cup of coffee, it is fresh and I love it. It should be like that. A habit ho gaya na, therefore you drink a cup of coffee and be done with it. Then there is no enjoyment in it. So just I am making a point, it is not about, I am not telling something about coffee. I am telling something about habit. So, okay, you don't misunderstand me. So people think that I am telling something about coffee. I am not telling about coffee. I am not telling about coffee. I am telling about habit, okay? So, you don't allow anything to become a habit. If anything becomes a habit, another name for habit is mechanical. And therefore its value is lost. Therefore the pebble settles down and sits there. It rests. And that rest, there is so much activity going all around, but it rests. That is the beauty. That is what you have to do in yoga. Karmanya karma. All activity is going on, but you are at rest. That should be like that. That is meditation. And when you abide in your swarupa that way, without any effort and struggle, you are one with the true happiness. So, that is the true happiness. Happiness people have to understand. People assume that the things have happiness to give to us. The things which continuously change, they change and pass away. They go away. They do not have happiness to give you. They cannot give you happiness. Happiness cannot be found in the things that change and pass away. So a car, it changes, you own it and it changes and changes. One day you have to sell it in a second-hand car shop. And then you have to get rid of it. So such things, they cannot give you true happiness. You seem to get some pleasure from such things. But then pleasure is another name for sense gratification. That is the pleasure. Why children like ice cream? Because ice cream is loaded with sugar. And that sugar, when you put it on the tongue, and then eventually it goes into the system, therefore there is a craving for sugar, and that craving is addressed and it is satisfied, and therefore you like it. Why they put so much sugar in every dish in these modern times? Because the people are looking for sense gratification. The taste buds must be gratified. They must be bombarded with sugar. Then only they get gratified. It is like if you go to a movie, in modern movie, if there is a smooth going dialogue and all that, you don't like that movie. There must be a lot of fun, frolic, fighting, this, dance, so much of activity must be there. Then only you will like it. So it means you need a gratification to the mind through the eyesight. Similarly, music also has changed its character. Even in the West, the music is not like Mozart or Beethoven anymore, which is very smooth music. It is not that anymore. Now the music is rock. Rock means it rocks you. Rock and roll. Literally, the person rocks and rolls, and also it makes us rock and roll. You have to see the people, a sea of humanity. They are all rocking and rolling along with the one who is rocking and rolling on the dais. That is the music. That is the music. And suppose you rock and roll today, music is over. Tomorrow you go. The same rock and roll will not satisfy you. He has to rock and roll a lot more. And then third day, he has to rock and roll a further lot more. Did you ever notice the evolution of Michael Jackson's music? If you notice it, you will know. Initially, he was standing and singing together with another 4 people. That was the day one music. And people were enjoying that music. But gradually a point came, he was the most agile person among those 5. Because Tishtan Gayati, they sing while standing and they cannot remain standing. They will be rocking also while singing. And he can do that much better than the other 4. And therefore they have dropped out. Because it is not gelling together. They have dropped out. Because they cannot jump so much as this guy does. And they all sing together. It worked for Beatles, 3 of them or so, 4 of them, but it did not work for Michael Jackson and his brothers. It was there for a while. This is all my analysis, I don't know. And then they have dropped. He became alone. And then every year he comes out with one set of music songs and all that. What they call one disc. Every year he comes out with one disc. Year after year after year, the disc, the music, has more activity, more rolling, more rocking, more excitement. He has to do that. Otherwise, if he maintains the same level of rock and roll as last year, it will not be a success. And people won't like it. Therefore, what you call pleasure, music also, this same thing happened in Bharatanatyam also. In Bharatanatyam, earlier it used to be very classical and all that. Bharata Maharshi said something and they do some dance. Recently, they started blowing that clouds on the Bharatanatyam stage, and all the people who sit and see there are tears in their eyes because those clouds are ammonia and hydrochloric acid. Bharatanatyam, why do you need those clouds? You know clouds? They throw some smoke, lot of smoke. So in Bharatanatyam also, that original composure, which is a characteristic of Bharatanatyam, is lost because people converted Bharatanatyam into sense gratification. And once you do that, you need more of it. Yesterday you needed this much sugar, today you need this much. After a while you need this much sugar. The gratification. Therefore, that is not happiness. That is pleasure. Because there the excitement that you derive, the sensation that you derive, which you call pleasure, is entirely dependent upon coming together of the sense organ and the sense object. If for some reason sense object is missing, there is no pleasure. Sense organ is not in good condition, there is no pleasure. This is in good condition, sense object is there, but there is no alignment, there is no pleasure. And it is entirely dependent upon the good condition of the sense organ and the availability of a good sense object. That's why it makes you dependent. It doesn't make you independent. Therefore, pleasure, it makes us psychologically dependent. Whereas that is not a true happiness. then the real problem is pleasure inexorably alternates with pain. So you have nice Bharatanatyam drama dance session in the night, and next day everybody is having some body pains, including the dancers and the spectators, etc. If not Bharatanatyam, some other Natyam. You see, what is it a worship of God? I don't know. Music I can understand, but dance being a worship of God, there are major issues in it. Music is the worship of God. No, it is very clean, no issue with it. But dance, there are issues with it. So all of this came from that Radha Krishna narrative. You got it? There are two narratives, Gita Krishna narrative versus Radha Krishna narrative. People are not familiar with Gita Krishna narrative. What they know is only Radha Krishna narrative, which is not good narrative. It is not right narrative. It is a false narrative. People will beat me one day, I am telling you. It is not, and therefore, all this dance, is it coming from there? I am not sure. So they sing Bhamave, Satya Bhamave, like that he will be singing for half an hour and she will be dancing. So, sense gratification. So we have converted religion into sense gratification. So you do a good worship, therefore make prasadam with a lot of sugar, and therefore every religious event is associated with heavy food eating. Normally you do not eat that much food. If you do daily that kind of puja, you will join a hospital within 2 weeks. Occasionally, once in a month or once in 3 months is okay. We are able to manage. Therefore, we have converted all the worships, etc., and art forms also, originally associated with devotion to God, but eventually they lost that saving point, and they have degenerated into sense gratification. So now we sit and enjoy food in the name of God. We enjoy dance in the name of God. We enjoy music in the name of God. Shastra exactly said things against it. Shastra said, don't be attached to music. We get attached, and put God's name to that. Don't do that mistake. That is the difference between Western music and our music, our dance. Western dance is not a God-related dance. It is a secular. Whereas our dance is all God, God, God. Not the so-called classical music. What is, how much classical it is? As 200 years old. That is the classical. George Washington was here at that time. That is the classical. It is not Hiranyagarbha time thing or anything. It came recently. In the last 400, 500 years it came. Therefore, whether it is in the name of God or whether it is nothing to do with God, a secular thing, sense gratification, if you take it as a pleasure, you are making a huge mistake. I brought in God also, because human mind is so cunning that secular sense gratification is bad, then the human mind adds God to it and still keeps the sense gratification in the name of God, in the name of religion. Don't do that mistake. Any kind of sense gratification is bad. And it is pleasure, all right, but it will alternate with pain. You cannot avoid it. Happiness, true happiness, comes only from that avatiṣṭhate, from the inner self. It doesn't come from outward things, it doesn't come from body, it doesn't come from sense organs, it doesn't come from organs of action. It doesn't. Mind is not the source of it. Mind may enjoy it, but not the source of it. Intellect is not the source of it. Ego is not the source of it. The innermost self alone is the source of happiness. That is the only source. And there is no other source. Therefore, you can discover happiness only in that innermost self. So you find your real self, what is called Svarupa. That is the real self. And you do that, abide in that, all else will come with it. Therefore, Ānandasvarūpeṇā. You see, you have to be aware of your own being. You see, you are the very, very primordial or original awareness. That is what you are, Chit. But the Chit is distracted or dispersed and scattered in multiple things of the world. So Chit, now I am aware of the sounds there, and I am aware of the forms there. That Chit means knowing. Aware means I know the forms there, that is Chit only. I know the sounds there, that is Chit only. Shabdajnanam, rūpavarṇādikaṃ, all of that Chit only. Now the Chit is lost. I mean, lost means you are not aware of the awareness. You only see the apparitional forms of Chit. Chit appears as Shabdajnanam. You know that. You are with it. Chit manifests or appears as rūpavarṇādikaṃ. You are with it. So, Chit is scattered in multiple things of the world. Multiple means five. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Now you withdraw that Chit from all these things. Then be aware of the body. Leave body alone. Be aware of the movement of the mind. Leave it alone. Now you be aware of your own being. That is avatisṭhate. I used to ask a question. Are you aware of the things around? Yes. Are you aware of the body? Yes. Are you aware of the actions in the body? Of course. Are you aware of the movement of the mind? No, the answer doesn't come forth. Because people are not aware of the movement of the mind. People are identified with the mind. Okay? Be aware of the movement of the mind. Don't identify. At least when you are aware of the movement of the mind, so there is that space, which is called the discrimination. That is the space. And now the mind also becomes quiet. So be aware of the movement of the mind. Start your sadhana there. And don't identify with the movement of the mind. Good. Are you aware of the movement of the mind? Yes. Are you aware of your own being? Nobody says yes. So, this is how the aware is scattered in a variety of things. And very rarely you come across a situation in yourself where you are aware of your own being. That is called avatisṭhate. You are aware of, you are not sleeping. Avatisṭhate, you are not sleeping. You are aware of your own being. When that happens, when you are aware of your own being, that is paripūrṇa chit. Chit is aware, paripūrṇa is the sat. Okay? You are aware of your own being. Then you will be in bliss just by being aware of your own being. That is the true happiness. That is where you get the true happiness. So, you see, do you have the sense of well-being? There is a thing called well-being. There are places of wellness center. Means he will help you to feel well. That is the point, Means, how are you doing? I'm doing well. How are you? I am well. That is the well-being. Okay? You see, what this well-being is bliss, I tell you. That is bliss. So, what happens is, when your mind moves out of your own being, let us say awareness, the distinction between awareness and mind is very thin. So, when your mind is taken off from your own being and it is engaged in so many other things of the world, you got the point? The mind resolves in your own being. Instead of that, the mind ignores the being, which is its own source, and then wanders into the things of the world, and it will be running after the things of the world. You got that point? Then you lose your sense of well-being. Got it? You cannot be feeling that sense of well-being. Suppose you go to a car showroom with a view to purchase a new car, you lose your sense of well-being right away. You cannot have sense of well-being. You will be in a sense of, you will be feeling that tension and insecurity, and you become very uneasy and tense because you have to make a big investment. You are afraid whether it will come out successful or not. That is why the first thing you do is get the car and go to temple. People rush to temple. Who are the people who are rushing to the temple? Very unhappy people and very insecure people. Even you, when you are you have that sense of well-being in you, you are very relaxed, happy, and you feel good in yourself. You don't rush to your temple. You stay at your place. That's why I say heart is the temple. There is the temple in you. Why should you run here and there for temple, for God? It is in you. That is Vedanta. This is not Karmakanda. Suppose I am teaching what is called Kashi Khandam. There is a text called Kashi Khandaha. It is part and parcel of Skanda Purana. And people teach it. In India they teach it. There are many stories in it. It is a big text. I was going through it also. It tells you that God is in Kashi and Kashi alone. So you have to go to Kashi. And you have to live in Kashi. You have to die in Kashi. All of that is coming from Kashi Khandaha. I am not teaching Kashi Khanda. This is Atma Bodha. Here, everything comes from within. That is the difference. So the Kashi Khanda people should not expect me to toe their line. Right? They should leave me alone to go my way. Anyway, I am complaining like that, please don't mind. Therefore, the moment you take your mind off your own inner being and go out into the world with that mind, you lose your sense of well-being. Therefore, leave the world alone. Come back. Allow the mind to merge in that svarupa, the being, avatisṭhate. That is called meditation. There you regain your sense of well-being. Okay? You understand the difference? Then one more difference. Difference between happiness and pleasure. You see, you take this as a thumb rule. If you have to struggle, put in effort to get happiness, that is not true happiness. Whether you struggle in the world or you struggle with rituals, etc., to get ritual you have to struggle. Some people struggle in the world, some people struggle with rituals. Everything is struggle only. Some people struggle alternately, sometime there, sometime here. Go on struggling. You have to see the struggle to believe it. You have to see the struggle. I have to chant Vishnu Sahasranama 108 times. And while taking such a resolve, it feels good. Because that religious conditioning will be there, that makes you feel good. I have taken a resolve. This is very precious and very pious. And so, therefore, you go and sit cross-legged and start. After first round is over, you have to look at yourself. The struggle begins. That initial excitement takes you through the first round, if at all, partly into the second round. Now that excitement wanes, and now what remains is the original resolution as a weighing upon you, and the fear of God's wrath if you do not fulfill it. And therefore, the struggle begins. One person is doing puja, and he's tired, Sahasranama puja. And then he asked me, how many namas are over? I said, you have to have some patience, only 600 are over, another 400 are there. Have some patience, I told them. Then he said, okay. So he makes a new resolve and then goes along with it, and at last, my Chalu Bhagavantuda Purta, it is over. Struggle. Therefore, that is not the formula for happiness. If there is struggle, and put effort also in that, effort and struggle do not create happiness. And what they create is not happiness. It is not true happiness. You may still call it happiness. It is not true happiness. You see, what happens is you struggle from morning up to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, struggle and do, struggle. You are totally tired, and then sit for lunch and eat very heavy food, lots of it, and then go on to sleep. You feel happiness. That is not happiness. That is sense gratification and pleasure. And its counterpart, pain, will be waiting to strike you. And it will strike. Therefore, my point is not about that. My point is only this much. True happiness is effortless, in other words, spontaneous. And that comes from within. And the well-being of yourself is unshakable. Nothing can shake it. Even if a huge earthquake, apocalypse happens, you remain in your bliss. It is unshakable. That is the ananda. Then I am giving differences between pleasure and happiness continuously. 2 or 3 I have said. One more I am telling. This is the most important. Pleasure is noisy and associated with a lot of jerky and a lot of movement. It is mobility, a lot of mobility and noise. That is what pleasure is. Whereas true happiness is peace and serenity. There is no noise in it. It is a mahashanti. That is the true happiness. People do not know this difference. That's why what they do, you dance to get happiness. In the world, that is what they do. You go to a pub, what they are doing there? Drink and dance. and then bring the dance into God worship. And so eat very sweet food, sugary food, and dance. And dance with the sacred chant on the lips. Sacred chant on the lips doesn't work. It must be in the heart, not on the lips. And then when you associate dance with it, what dance does is, there is a thing called abandonment. So you go into a state of abandon. Means you are not yourself anymore. You lose yourself in that intense motion. You lose yourself. Kind of abandonment. It is not a giving up of the small self by the understanding of the truth. It is not that. That is not abandonment. That is illumination, or that is realization. There also small self is lost by understanding. That is realization. Here small self is lost temporarily for 5 minutes or 10 minutes in a process called abandonment. That is the dance thing it is. So Rama, Rama, Krishna, Krishna, like that you dance, you go into a state of abandonment. And abandonment is not happiness. And it is not even true worship of God. Therefore, people should understand all these things. So sometimes I feel I am doing a service by telling these things. Because nobody tells these things. It is not politically correct to say these things. But somebody has to, the proverb, tie the bell to the cat. Somebody has to do it, I am doing it. You give some credit to me. Really. Therefore, that is Ananda. Then this Ananda expresses in life. It is very practical. It is not that you are in meditation and you are in Ananda. Not like that. When you are not in meditation, when you are interacting in the world, then also there is Ananda. You know how that Ananda you experience? When there is harmony, that is Ananda. In Sanskrit it is called samarasata. So sadhushvapicha papeshu samabuddhir vishishyate. What is that vishesha, specialty? What is the specialty? When you have that equanimity, there is a specialty. What is that specialty? Samarasata. Samaha is samarasata. Rasa is ananda, raso vaisaha. That is the ananda. And therefore, in that equanimity, there is harmony. What is harmony? There is the sense that something is amiss, is absent. Everything is fine. All is fine. No, something is wrong. That sense is not there. That is harmony. People do not know what is harmony. So, a question is asked. People in India, the poor people, they live happily. And people in the West, in advanced countries, these industrialized nations, they are not happy people, generally speaking. They have all the comforts of the modern technology, but they are not happy people. You go to a slum in India, they live happily. What is the secret? You see, the city of joy, that is Calcutta. Calcutta is many slums are there. You don't know how a slum looks like. Sometimes you come to our Padmanabha Nagar Shivananda class in the evening, you will know. You pass through some elements of slum. So people are happy. What is the happiness there? And what is missing here? Here you are not happy. You means not you, generally. What is the missing? You know what is missing? Harmony. What is harmony? What is harmony? Harmony is there is no distance between the outer and inner. There is a kind of merger between the outer and inner. Or let me put it this way, there is no conflict between the outer and inner. That is harmony. That's why while I am walking to take my class in Shivananda, I see a lot of squalor and all that outer. But suppose inner, I have an expectation that it should be otherwise, then there is a gap between the two. And therefore I feel unhappy. What kind of a silly place I am coming to, like that. Harmony. So you should have harmony. That harmony, if you have in your life, you do not experience a gulf between the outer and inner. There is no gulf between the outer and inner. You see, when Swami came to America, landed in New York airport, and he was received by a devotee in a car. And he was opened the door and make him sit in the car. He sat in the car. And he says, hey, this is a very low car, what kind of a silly car you brought for me? This is what is called disharmony. You see, a car has come, and the car is car. Sometimes it is convenient, sometimes it is not so convenient, whatever, you just fit yourself, not yourself, fit the body into that, and let the job be done. And you do not feel something seriously wrong. You do not feel. You are not disturbed. You are at ease, and you are at peace, and you are in joy that the person has come to receive you. He shows the car, you sit inside and ask, how are you doing? What is going on with you? And so show love to him. That is harmony. The first thing that you notice is the car is not a comfortable car. Some useless car they brought for me instead of bringing a better car. You see, nowadays in India, all cars are air conditioned. At one time, there used to be here one, there one air conditioned car. In that Maruti car days, there was no air conditioning. We used to go around in a Maruti car like made of this abandoned or thrown out metal bottles. So like that, daga, 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 we were in ecstasy that there is a car to go by. That is harmony. That's why as the sense pleasures increase, we lose the harmony. Harmony is the casualty. You are accustomed to rich food. Then you go somewhere, they serve some food, you feel bad. Oh, this is not the food that I like. I want somewhat higher food. There is no harmony. Of course, when it comes to food, you should be very careful, otherwise your stomach will be upset. I am not saying about that. Clean and healthy food you should eat, but you should not allow the harmony to be shaken because the food is not up to your standard or taste or whatever. Keep the health part aside. Therefore, with the surroundings you are in harmony. That is the expression of Ananda. And with people you are in harmony. That is the expression of Ananda. Hey, who is that person coming? Oh, why is he coming here? I don't like him. That is disharmony. That makes you unhappy. There is unhappiness in you which is coming out. Whosoever it may be, he is Atma, same brother in a worldly sense. Atma, I love him. No, he may not love me, doesn't matter. I love the other person. There is harmony. No, he is enemy. I don't have enemies. Ajata Shatruhu. There are no enemies. Adversaries, no adversaries. So some people can cause trouble to you. Nobody can cause trouble to me. What trouble is they can cause? I eat my food and I live in my room. What trouble anybody can cause? Therefore, that sense of well-being is with you because you are in harmony with the surroundings and you are in harmony with the people around. That harmony is the hallmark of a person who discovered the Ananda in his Swarupa. Therefore, You have to abide in your Swarupa and discover that Ananda as the Mahashanti, and also you have to manifest that Ananda in your interaction with the world as a harmony and peace. Harmony comes with peace. That is the Ananda. Let us finish the verse. Rūpavarṇādikaṃ sarvaṃ vihāya paramārthavit paripūrṇacidānandasvarūpeṇāvatiṣṭhate. I'll answer at least one question. There is a question about loneliness. That is a separate topic. We will wait for it. Now, there is a question about Gita. In Gita, there are 4 kinds of bhaktas are there. Arto, jñāsu, rartharthi, jñāni ca bharatarshabha. The question is, can we say the artharthi bhakta is worshipping theocentric God? That is the question. Answer is no. Because in Gita, there is no theocentric God. Therefore, Artha is worshipping homocentric God. So, God in the form of some human being will help me. That's why in India, we look at the doctor as God. And nobody files a complaint against the doctor. Even when doctor has done something wrong and therefore he suffers, still they bless the doctor. There are no complaints against the doctors. There is nothing called malpractice insurance. How bad it sounds. Malpractice, is it called like that? Why you are doing right practice or malpractice? It is a bad expression. This doesn't exist in India. It just doesn't exist in India. Because we see God in the doctor, and then we see God in father, we see God in mother, we see God in the child. We are not theocentric people. We are homocentric people. That is Gita. Aham Atma Bodha. Therefore, Artha also worships God in man. Artharthi also worships God in man. I wanted some help, and that person gave that help. And immediately we say, you are Bhagavan. This is Gita. And therefore, the question doesn't arise. There is no theocentric God in Gita. That question is answered. That came from India, and I know who has sent that question also. Okay. Om Purnamadaḥ Purnamidam Purnasya